They called him the Smashing Machine. And he was a monster in the cage, a destroyer of men, the kind of fighter who didn't just win. He devoured, took souls, left silence. But what happens when a man like that forgets who he is outside the cage? Mark Kerr didn't just fight opponents. He fought himself every damn day. And I swear, that's the kind of fight most people never see. Because it doesn't bleed. It hides behind the smile. It trains in the dark. And when the lights go out, it hits harder than any punch ever could. This isn't just a story about muscle and MMA. This is about identity, pain, and the terrifying silence that comes when a man loses touch with who he is, not in public, but in the quiet hours, when no one's watching, when the applause is gone and the room goes cold. See, Mark Kerr wasn't just winning. He was dominating, undefeated, wrecking everyone. But inside, he was cracking, slowly, quietly, the way tough men do, not with drama, not with noise, but with isolation, addiction, fear. And that's what makes his story matter. Because how many men out there walk through life the same way? How many were raised to be strong, but never shown how to heal, told to fight, but never taught how to feel? Mark wasn't weak. He was wounded. That's different. That's something most people never understand. He had the body of a titan, but the mind of a man still bleeding from childhood. A man who never learned how to live outside of conflict. He knew how to survive, but not how to be still. He knew how to win, but not how to be whole. And I swear, that's a quiet tragedy a lot of men carry. You grow up thinking the fight will make you. You take hits, you give more back, you become the strong one, the protector, the one who never breaks. But somewhere along the line you stop asking, who's protecting me? You bury your fear, you ignore the cracks, you keep swinging, until one day you wake up and realize you're not fighting to win anymore. You're fighting not to disappear. That was Mark. Behind the belts, the fans, the legacy, was a man drowning in pills, trying to quiet the war inside his own mind. Not because he was chasing a high, but because he needed silence. Just a moment of peace. He wasn't trying to die. He was trying to breathe. And that right there is the reality most men don't say out loud, because we don't want to be saved. We want to be seen, not pitied, not fixed, just understood. It's easy to admire the fighter who wins, but what about the man underneath? What about the version that lies awake at 3 a.m. wondering what he is without the fight? That's the part most people ignore. That's the part where a lot of us live. Mark Kerr's story isn't about falling. It's about losing yourself in the very thing that once gave you purpose and realizing no title, no crowd, no reputation can replace a man's peace. You see, strength without stillness is chaos. Mark had power, but no center. He was rewarded for pain, praised for rage, pushed to keep going no matter what, and the world clapped until he broke. His documentary, The Smashing Machine, wasn't just a film. It was a mirror, a brutal, raw, unfiltered look at a man who could destroy anyone except his own demons. And maybe that's why it still hits so hard. Because if we're honest, a lot of us are living the same story in silence. We armor up, we grind, we smile through it, but deep down, we're just tired of pretending. Being a man should never mean dying quietly. It shouldn't mean hiding your pain behind muscle, or swallowing your fear with a straight face, or pretending you're fine when you're barely holding it together. So if you see yourself in Mark, I need you to hear this. are not broken. You are not weak. You're a man who's carried more than most people will ever understand. And the fact that you're still here, still standing, still breathing, that's not failure. That's strength in its most honest form. Mark Kerr lost himself, yes, but maybe he was never truly allowed to find himself in the first place. He showed us that even the strongest can crack, even legends can hurt, even monsters need rest. And maybe that's the point, that sometimes the fight you're in isn't against the world, it's against the version of you that never believed you deserved peace. So if you're listening right now, let this be your reminder. You don't have to smash everything to prove you're strong. Sometimes the strongest thing a man can do is stop fighting ghosts. Mark Kerr was a fighter, but what made him powerful was learning how to be human. And that is why he matters.
It's almost like, there is this feeling inside that you have to shed instantly, which is a feeling of like, I've been down this road before, I've done this before, and here I am again, I'm faced with the same challenges again, and it's like if I was fighting diabetes or I was fighting cancer. It's the same type of situation. Like I said over and over again, there's a pathology, so I look at it like I have a disease, I know what the cure is, and I have to continue to take my medicine no matter what. I have to continue to participate in a high level in my recovery, otherwise I get sick again. It's pretty easy to look at my son, and he's an awesome kid, good looking dude, and I didn't have to search very far to come up with the reasons to get clean and sober. He's gonna need his dad. He's gonna need his dad around for as long as I possibly can be. So.
Yes.
Okay. What do you do?